Welcome back, Brotivation Sports. This is Champ Creed. Thank you all for listening to the Muhammad Ali Memorial Special. And I would be remiss if I also didn't mention, the passing of, wow. You want to talk about a phenomenon. Now, he may not be on my my list of he may not be on my heroic pantheon of athletes, but there's a special room for Kimbo Slice, man, because you want to talk about coming around once in a particular generation. He came up during the YouTube generation. Rest in peace to Kimbo, and my condolences go out to his family, and I have friends in the business that knew him. But check this out. I'm all about my stats. I'm all about metrics, although I don't believe in basketball advanced metrics are everything, but that's another show. Check this. On June 7th, Kimbo Slice, the video reporting the news of his passing, received 1.6 million views in total on ESPN.com, and it eclipsed the views of the video package on Muhammad Ali. Now, you got to think, as I explained to my staff and my friends, Muhammad Ali, television generation. Kimbo Slice, social media generation. We live now in a social media generation. Muhammad Ali's core fan base and people that know about him, they get their news from traditional media outlets. So that's why those numbers are that way. But, going back to the life of Kevin Ferguson, Kimbo Slice. I mean, here's a guy who had a family. He basically came from rebuilding his life after a hurricane and said, you know what? I got to rebuild my life. I got to feed my family. I got to feed my kids. I got to take care of everybody. What do I have? I got these knuckles on the end of my wrists, and I'm going to put them through the face of any man standing across from me, and I'm going to do it for the money. It just so happened that he came along in a time when YouTube, him and YouTube started around the same damn time when you think about it. And although Kimbo, he didn't do too much social activism, Kimbo didn't travel around the world and speak in front of, scholastic luminaries and foreign dignitaries and grand universities. He did speak to a generation through social media in an entertaining fashion. Like his fight with D, crazy. His loss to Rich Gannon, look, everybody takes an L. But Rich Gannon was trained. He single-handedly put Elite XC on the map. I mean, he's the reason why they got a television deal with CBS. I still remember, when Kimbo was fighting, it was an event. He fought Ray Mercer. He fought Tank Abbott. He fought James Colossal Thompson. Kimbo Slice filled in that lane that Mike Tyson left open for us. A menacing human ball of destruction that wreaked havoc with his hands and put people down. And his look was just, if you asked Stan Lee from Marvel Comics to draw a menacing supervillain from the hood that can destroy everything with a boom, you get Kimbo Slice. He came straight out of a comic book. Yeah, I'm sounding like The Last Dragon. You come straight out of a comic book, man. But, Kimbo Slice, I mean, his life was, he died young, man, and it was the autopsy will come out, and, we'll get the details on that. But, there was just so much more that I don't think that he had too many years left fighting, for the simple fact that he got off to a very, very late start. And even when he got to the UFC and he did The Ultimate Fighter, he did pretty well. He's in there with guys that have been training for a very, very long time, and all he did was, hit the heavy bags, go out in the street, punch refrigerators, lift cement blocks. He did the hood workout, and he handled himself pretty well. You know, the one thing that I don't like is that I felt that he wasn't given a shot in UFC. I felt like, you know, he had the fight with Houston Alexander, to which they both gassed out, and that was a tough fight. He had the fight with Matt Mitrione, and he didn't do too well. He didn't fare too well. I think that if you would have cultivated his career and gave him matchups. See, the difference between boxing and UFC is when you have a promoter and you have a fighter, the promoter knows that that fighter is his money. So he cultivates the career of the fighter. He doesn't put them out there with killers right away. He develops him, helps develop his confidence, help him fight to develop his technique, get ring time. You know, Kimbo, he had the Ultimate Fighter, he needed a little bit more ring time. And then the matchups are key. Promotional value-wise, Kimbo was box office. He had the record on the Tough Enough, on the Ultimate Fighter. He had the record ratings, even though it was Rampage and Rashad as the main draw. Kimbo helped sell that pay-per-view. 1 million people bought that pay-per-view, and that was with two black dudes, you know, as the headliner. And UFC, as we'll talk about, the racial demographic of UFC fans, yeah, that's going to get a little deep in the history of the sport, because I have my experiences with that, and I can't wait to share with them on that show. But Kimbo was box office. And to this day, I say this. Kimbo has this fight with Houston Alexander. Wasn't eventful. He wins by decision. If you would have put, and you listening to this, listen to me, Dave. If you would have put Kimbo Slice versus Brock Lesnar, 2009, 2000, whatever the case may be, that would have sold 3 million pay-per-views. Kimbo Slice, when he's hot. Brock Lesnar. I mean, you're hot-shotting people anyway. It's a pay-per-view market. You got to sell. Your objective is to sell. Let the people argue about it later. You got to sell pay-per-views to stay in business. To this day, the biggest MMA pay-per-view would have been Kimbo Slice versus Brock Lesnar. And if y'all don't agree with me, you can follow me at Champ Creed on Instagram, at Champ Creed on Snapchat, at Champ Creed on Twitter. And we could talk about it. Kimbo versus Brock. Because look, either somebody's getting ground and pounded, somebody's getting submitted, or somebody's getting knocked out. Right? So you know this ain't going to go the distance. Something's going to happen. Man, I would have loved to seen the betting line and seen the smart money on that one. And speaking of the betting line and smart money, on the next Brotivation Sports, being as though we ran a little bit over, we will discuss the UFC 200 special, the smart money, and then we're going to go into our segment called The Game After the Game. Ooh, the game after the game. What is that? What will that be? I'll tell you this much. From a Brotivational standpoint, the game after the game will enhance your life in several areas, including with the ladies. This is Champ Creed. Thank you for listening. This is Fox Sports Radio 1340, Brotivational Sports, Brotivation Sports, Brotivationize your life. We'll see you tomorrow.